Hey there everybody, and welcome to the next episode of our Baja adventure. You've heard all the horror stories about driving Highway 1. Are they true or are they false? Stay tuned to find out more about how the trip went for us. In general, the roads in the northern part were worse than in the southern part. Little shoulder, narrow, sometimes no fog line or no line down the middle. In those cases, you have to be super careful. The secret is to just really go slow. But don't let this northern part discourage you from coming down, because once you get past Puerto Negro, it's a whole different story. And the worst roads we found pretty much were around Catavina and that whole stretch across the center of the peninsula. In general, the roads in Baja are getting better and better every year because there's a lot of work going on, except for those years when there's a hurricane, and then that really creates a setback. Livestock is also common on the road. Goats, cows, horses, free-ranging across the entire peninsula. Oftentimes you'll see passengers along the road, or bicyclists. What'd you think of the little mishap back there?
Well, it was a near head-on collision. Missed it by probably inches.
That's right, exactly.
And it would have been a trip ender.
It would have been a trip ender.
Yeah.
I was afraid we were going to kill the guy on the bicycle, swerving. And there is considerable heavy truck traffic, sometimes barreling up and down the road. In some areas, there is adequate shoulder and plenty of room, and the pavement is smooth. Example, down around La Paz and in that very southern part. Well, this is one of the nicest sections of road that we've seen coming into La Paz. And there continues to be construction going on, which sometimes can be a pain, but it just leads to roads getting better and better every year as time goes by. When you approach a stop sign in Mexico, be sure to stop. Always come to a complete stop. You may notice that the Mexican drivers don't always come to a complete stop because they use the rule, the first person in the intersection has the right-of-way. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop, because it's a good way to get fined. Just be careful that one of these Mexican drivers doesn't hit you in the rear. Some towns, like Ciudad Constitucion, have stop signs on every single corner. It can be very frustrating, but just take your time and get through town safely. We're traveling through Ciudad Constitucion on our way from Laredo down to La Paz.
From the street on the right.
This
when
is
you
reportedly.
Make, stop, make sure before you go again that nobody's crossing.
One of the more corrupt cities in Baja. We are very careful at all these stop signs because there are police watching. So the caravan's getting a little strung out here, but we're all on the main road, so can't get lost. Ciudad Constitucion. Unfortunately, breakdowns are pretty common along this route. One couple in our group had a serious issue between Catavina and El Rosario. We were pretty much in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. Turned out they had a broken leaf spring. Some of the guys were able to band-aid things together so we could find help. We're going to fix the leaf spring. We have the leaf spring that Ellen and I bought online, and I'm so grateful that somebody might be able to use it. We'll see how it goes. All right, it looks like the leaf spring worked, and we're all good here.
The piece that's missing is the piece that's fly off about 2 miles ago.
Hey, it got us here.
I bet you I put my plywood in there would have lasted.
Here, have some more.
No, it's not ours.
It is now.
Just keep it.
Before we went on the trip, we had our mechanic go over the checklist provided by Baja Amigos to make sure we were in tip-top shape. And we made sure to bring all the suggested supplies, which included, thankfully, a spare leaf spring. Lesson is, be prepared for anything. Watch out for topes, or speed bumps. You'll find them everywhere. Usually they're marked, but sometimes they are not, and hitting a tope at full speed can be very jarring. make sure to always wear your seatbelt, as these fines can be stiff too. And don't use your phone at all when you're driving. Be very careful of that. You will find plenty of gas stations along the way in Baja, Pemex stations, but just be on the lookout. It's good to have a map that shows where the gas stations are, because sometimes there can be some long gaps between them. In the past, when we drove in Mexico, we found stations that were out of gas. Well, that didn't happen this time. It seemed like everybody had gas. One thing we were told to be careful of: if you go to get gas, make sure you get out of your vehicle and stand there and watch the attendant. Make sure that the gas pump is zeroed out before he starts pumping. This is kind of a known scam across Baja, so be on the lookout for it. Either that attendant or another attendant might wash your window for you. If that's the case, give them a few pesos to say thank you. Credit cards are commonly accepted at gas stations, but not always. If that's important to you, ask ahead of time to make sure. If not, carry enough cash to make sure that you can handle your gas pump at any time. You may have heard me use the term mordida in the previous video, which means the bite. Some people call it bribes, often Americans do. Mexicans see it a little bit differently, but don't pay a bribe. Don't pay a mordita. It's illegal, and it's illegal for them to ask. However, and a big however, there could be a circumstance where you are stopped, the officer wants to fine you, and you know you're wrong. Maybe you didn't have your seatbelt on, or maybe you rolled through a stop sign. In that case, it might be better to negotiate the fine directly with the officer, if that's what he wants. So let's talk about military checkpoints, because there seem to be a lot of them in Baja. They're along the road, and usually they're on established locations. You'll see a sign that will indicate that there's a military inspection ahead, to be prepared to stop. The soldiers are usually very young, they're serious, and they're professional. They will often ask you, "Where'd you come from, and where are you going?" Remember that they're really there to help keep us safe, the travelers. So be nice, smile, but if you need to, be firm. Do not let them search anything without you present. If they want to go back and look in your RV, lock your truck instead of leaving it open when you go back there to show them whatever they want to look at. Don't offer them anything. And if they ask for anything, such as liquor, money, flashlight, just say no kindly. For example, if they see alcohol, they might look at it and hold it up and say, "For me?" Just say no in a firm voice and smile. Well, that checkpoint was easy peasy this time. They had a few questions, they waved us through. Not at all like last time when they tried to extort money and liquor and this and that, and searched very thoroughly. So, all good. Maybe it's not so bad. I've got just a couple more tips for you. It's really good to have a cell phone. Even if you don't have it turned on all the time, it's nice to have it in case of emergency. Travel with other people. I would not travel alone, and I certainly wouldn't camp alone. And use portable radios to communicate. And before you travel, look for current road reports on all the specific segments you plan to travel in Baja to find out what the real scoop is. The situation can change so rapidly, particularly if there are storms, so it's best to get the latest information before you travel. And then do make sure to buy the mandatory insurance. We bought from Lewis & Lewis because it was the cheapest, and thankfully we didn't need it. The policy we bought was just under $300. If you've got any questions, please post them down below in the comments. And if you've traveled in Baja and you've got some thoughts on some of these things, I'd love to hear what you have to say too. So please put that down in the comments. In our next episode, we're going to talk about the camping experience. Again, the good, bad, and ugly about camping, what that was really like. And so we hope you'll join us. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, click like, click on the bell, and we'd love to see you as a regular subscriber on our channel. Guys, take care. Adios.